Chosen one, listen closely. Heaven has interrupted your timeline. Everything around you is quieted for a reason. You didn't stumble into this message by accident, you were guided here. The divine hand of God has reached into the noise of your life and said, "Stop. Look. Listen. Something holy is happening beneath the surface of what you call disruption. There are moments when God doesn't send a whisper, He sends a full interruption. Not to harm you, not to delay you, but to shift your direction toward destiny. This is one of those moments. The plans of heaven are not behind schedule, they are right on time, and you are part of that alignment. You felt it lately, that invisible tug in your spirit, that restlessness that makes old things feel uncomfortable. The friends you used to laugh with don't speak the same language of purpose anymore. The habits that once numbed your pain now make your spirit uneasy. That's because God is removing the temporary so that the eternal can take root. What once fit no longer does. You are growing into a version of yourself that heaven designed before you ever took your first breath. Every delay, every disappointment, every rejection has been the voice of God disguised as redirection. When you thought He was ignoring your prayers, He was protecting your promise. You cried over what you lost, but heaven was saying, "You can't take that with you where you're going." The truth is, God doesn't let you stay in places that shrink your destiny. If you've been sensing confusion, it's often the first sign that a divine shift has begun. When peace begins to lift from something or someone, that's your signal heaven is calling you to step out. Don't cling to the familiar when God is trying to give you freedom. The doors that closed were not curses, they were covering. You asked God for clarity, and sometimes clarity comes as closure. When the wrong season ends, the right one can finally begin. Do not mourn what God has already moved out of your path. What's leaving your life has served its purpose. What's coming will carry your next miracle. Chosen one. There's something sacred in the silence you've been walking through. You've mistaken the quiet for absence. But God often speaks the loudest in stillness. He pauses your plans to prepare your purpose. He isolates you to anoint you. You were never meant to blend in, you were meant to break through. The pain that once made you question everything was actually the pressure molding your spirit for something greater. Every tear watered the soil of your next season. Every lonely night became a classroom where heaven taught you strength, resilience, and spiritual authority. You are not who you were a year ago. You are being redefined, reshaped, and reborn. Right now, destiny is rearranging itself in your favor. The spiritual fog that's been clouding your path is beginning to clear. You are entering a season where the things that didn't make sense will suddenly reveal their purpose. You will understand why certain people left, why certain doors closed, and why God made you wait. Nothing was wasted. Every moment was used to refine the oil in your lamp so that your light could burn brighter than ever before. You may feel like you're standing between endings and beginnings. But that's the sweet spot of divine transformation. Don't resist it. Let the shift happen. Release your grip on what's no longer meant for you, and trust that what's ahead carries more peace than what's behind. Heaven speaks clearly through the words written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. This is that new thing, this moment, this word, this stirring inside you. It's the confirmation that your story is about to turn. The wilderness is not your final destination. It's the bridge to your promised land. You are being positioned for divine elevation, and everything you release today makes room for what heaven is sending next. If this resonates deep within you, if you feel that quiet fire rising, don't let it pass you by. Like this message, share it so others can awaken to their own divine shift, and subscribe to stay connected to the flow of revelation being released in this season. Now declare it in faith, not for me, but for heaven to witness your surrender. Comment below 777. I release what no longer serves my destiny. You have just crossed a threshold, and heaven has taken note of your response. The act of typing that number wasn't symbolic alone, it was prophetic. A seal has been placed over this moment in your life. From this day forward, divine acceleration begins. The shift has already started within you. You feel it again, that quiet weight pressing against your chest. The invisible heaviness that follows you into the morning and lingers through the night. It's not that you're weak or faithless. It's that you're carrying things you were never meant to carry. The Spirit has been whispering gently but firmly, lay it down. Yet part of you still clings, afraid that letting go means losing control. But the truth is, holding on has been the very thing draining your strength. There are burdens that once served a purpose but have now expired in your story. Some pains once kept you alert, now they only keep you stuck. Some memories once helped you survive, now they've become cages that keep you small. And God, in His mercy, is trying to free you, not by taking everything away at once, but by allowing the weight to feel unbearable enough that you'll finally hand it to Him. You've carried disappointments that were never yours to own. You've carried guilt over things you could not fix. You've carried people who were meant to walk beside you for a season but not a lifetime. It's exhausting, isn't it? The pretending that you're fine, the constant rebuilding of strength while quietly unraveling inside. But this is where heaven steps in, not with condemnation, but with compassion. God does not shame you for your struggle. He invites you to exchange your heaviness for His peace. This weight, chosen one, has taught you something valuable. It's taught you how to endure, how to intercede, how to love deeply. But now, that same endurance must evolve into release. The Lord is saying, you have proven your loyalty. You have learned to stand in the storm. Now learn to rest. Because faith isn't proven only in persistence, it's also proven in surrender. Sometimes the hardest act of faith is not fighting, but unclenching your hands. To release the past does not mean you forget it. It means you trust God to redeem it. To release the person who hurt you does not mean you excuse them. It means you refuse to let bitterness poison the soil of your destiny. To release the dream that failed does not mean you stop believing. It means you make room for the new thing heaven is building. God never meant for you to live in emotional debt, carrying the weight of every wrong, every wound, every unfinished chapter. That's why your spirit has been restless lately, because your next chapter cannot begin while your heart is still chained to the last one. The divine shift that began in the previous moment is still unfolding, and this is its next demand: release what no longer serves your destiny. You might think, but what if I lose everything? And heaven responds, what if you gain peace? What if letting go doesn't leave you empty, but finally make space for the fullness of what God has always wanted to give you? Every spiritual awakening begins with a divine exchange: your burden for His breath, your control for His covering, your striving for His strength. God is not calling you to pretend that it doesn't hurt. He's calling you to bring the pain into His presence, where it can no longer define you. You have wept over what you cannot change, but those tears have not been wasted. They are watering the seeds of your renewal. Soon, you will look back and see that this breaking was actually birthing. The Word of God declares in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. That is not a suggestion, it's an invitation. Heaven is not asking you to be stronger. Heaven is offering to carry you. And in this holy exchange, the weight that once bent your back will become the wind that lifts your wings. When you finally release the heaviness, you'll notice how light feels like grace. You'll notice how peace doesn't have to be earned. It just has to be received. You'll walk differently, speak differently, even breathe differently, because you'll no longer be walking under the pressure of what was, but under the promise of what will be. Chosen one, the shift has begun not in the heavens, but in your own heart. What you surrender today becomes the foundation of your freedom tomorrow. And soon, when you look around, you will see that the very weight that tried to break you was actually preparing you to rise. And when that freedom settles in, you will realize that peace was never missing. It was waiting for your surrender, waiting for the moment you stopped carrying what was never yours to bear. The release was not loss. It was resurrection in disguise, quietly rebuilding your strength from the inside out. Then suddenly, clarity comes. The noise fades. What once felt impossible begins to feel inevitable. You step lighter, breathe deeper, and sense heaven smiling over your obedience. This is what divine rest feels like, where grace meets surrender and strength is reborn in stillness. You are finally becoming who you were meant to be. You've started to feel lighter, haven't you? Yet even as the old weight fades, there are still roots buried deep within your spirit, hidden attachments that cling to the edges of your heart. These aren't always visible to others. Sometimes they appear as comfort, nostalgia, or loyalty, but beneath the surface, they quietly drain your energy and delay your growth. These attachments can take many forms: a memory you replay, a person you can't release, a habit you keep justifying, a version of yourself you've outgrown but still visit in moments of fear. They whisper, "You need me," when in truth they need you to survive. They live on borrowed energy, your attention, your emotion, your focus. The moment you withdraw that power, they crumble. God is revealing this now because your spirit cannot ascend while your heart is anchored to what was. Some of these ties began in innocence, a friendship that once felt divine, a dream that once burned bright, a pattern that once kept you safe. But when seasons shift, even good things can become weights. And heaven is saying, you've stayed too long at that altar. It's time to move. This is the holy work of detachment, not bitterness, but discernment. You are not cutting people off. You are cutting spiritual cords that no longer align with your destiny. You are reclaiming the parts of yourself you unknowingly gave away to situations that didn't deserve them. You are remembering who you were before fear told you to shrink, before trauma taught you to settle. Chosen one. The enemy is subtle. He will disguise bondage as belonging, familiarity as faithfulness. He will try to convince you that walking away makes you ungrateful. But the truth is, obedience always costs comfort. To step into what's next, you must unlearn what once defined you. There's a holy fire stirring inside of you. It's not anger. It's purification. It's heaven cleaning house, sweeping away the dust of old attachments so the glory of God can fill the empty space. You will begin to feel it in your emotions first. Peace returning, clarity sharpening, joy resurfacing. What once held power over you will start to lose its voice. You might find yourself missing certain things, not because they were good, but because they were familiar. That's normal. Even Israel longed for Egypt when freedom felt uncertain. But you are wiser now. You recognize that what's comfortable is not always what's divine. Growth will always cost you something, but stagnation will cost you everything. There's a reason heaven is pruning you. Every attachment released becomes a seed of authority planted in your future. You're learning to love without losing yourself, to give without depleting, to walk away without guilt. This is spiritual maturity, the art of carrying compassion without chains. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 1, verse 3. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. You cannot bear divine fruit while rooted in polluted soil. God wants your roots in living water in His truth, His presence, His plan. Some of the things you've been clinging to have been stealing nutrients from your destiny. It's time to uproot them with grace and gratitude, trusting that what's meant to stay will stay. And when you finally let go, you'll feel the shift. The air around you will seem clearer, lighter. You'll wake up without that unseen heaviness pressing on your soul. This isn't just emotional relief, it's spiritual liberation. Heaven takes note every time you choose obedience over attachment. Now, as an act of faith, type these 3 words below: I am free. Write them not just as a comment, but as a declaration over your life. Every letter you type echoes in the spirit realm as a signal that you are no longer available for the things that drained your light. You are choosing freedom over familiarity, alignment over attachment, destiny over delay. Your release is happening right now, not tomorrow, not when it feels easier. In this very moment, heaven witnesses your surrender and begins to move accordingly. You are stepping into wholeness, and what once chained you now becomes your testimony. When you write, I release now, you are not merely commenting words on a screen, you are prophesying over your own spirit. You are declaring before heaven and earth that you no longer serve your past. You are choosing freedom, clarity, and alignment with God's timing. Those 3 words unlock spiritual momentum that waiting cannot. When you write, I release now, every chain begins to loosen mental, emotional, even unseen spiritual bonds. Heaven interprets that phrase as surrender, and angels move into assignment. The pain that once haunted you starts losing its grip because you have finally chosen to trust God more than your fear of losing control. When you write, I release now, it becomes your covenant with new beginnings. It tells God, I'm ready to walk forward without hesitation. This act of faith opens divine doors that resistance kept shut. The moment you type it, you align your future with heaven's rhythm, and peace becomes your new default state. There are moments when heaven must close doors you desperately wanted to remain open. You prayed for an answer, yet instead came silence. You sought a path, and instead came a wall. But not every closed door is rejection, many are redirection. God shuts what you cannot see will harm you later. His no is often mercy wearing the disguise of disappointment. You've wept over opportunities that slipped away, believing you somehow failed. But heaven knows how to protect its chosen ones from detours disguised as blessings. Sometimes what you call loss is actually preservation. God is too kind to let you keep what would destroy your peace later. He is rearranging your access, not removing your purpose. Think back to the moments that hurt most. The job that didn't work out, the friendship that faded, the plan that unraveled. Each time, you thought the story had ended. But didn't something better eventually appear in its place? Maybe not immediately, but in hindsight, you can see it now. You can see how every denial carried divine intention, how every heartbreak became the soil for wisdom. Chosen one, divine doors do not swing open to pride or fear. They respond to obedience. God will never let you walk through a door your heart isn't yet mature enough to handle. Closed doors are His protection against premature blessings. If He gave you everything you asked for too soon, it would crush you under the weight of unprepared glory. The same God who opens the sea is the one who closes it behind you. He closes to protect, not to punish. Sometimes the ending of one connection saves you from a lifetime of confusion. Sometimes the silence is shielding you from counterfeit voices. You see emptiness. Heaven sees insulation. When you feel delay, heaven sees development. You are being retrained in divine trust. Every locked gate teaches your spirit that provision doesn't only come through open access, it comes through alignment. What's meant for you cannot be stolen, delayed, or overlooked. You will not miss what is written under your name in heaven's record, but you can waste energy trying to resurrect doors that God Himself sealed. Let this truth settle deep within you. If it requires you to beg, force, manipulate, or chase, it is not from God. The things ordained for you will recognize you. They will meet you at the right intersection of timing and readiness. The door will open naturally when you no longer need it to prove your worth. There is a sacred rhythm to divine timing. God closes doors when He knows that staying longer would stunt your becoming. Sometimes, He must separate you from good things so He can give you God things. He must interrupt your comfort to preserve your calling. What feels like rejection now will one day sound like protection when you tell the story. The prophet wrote in the book of Revelation chapter 3, verse 8, "Behold, I have set before you an open door, which no one can shut." Notice, it does not say every door will stay open, it says the right one will. That is the essence of faith, trusting that the closed doors are clearing your path to the door that cannot be shut. Chosen one, you are not locked out, you are being led forward. You may not see the next doorway yet, but heaven has already crafted it, perfectly measured for your new size of faith. Every no you've heard is pushing you toward the yes that carries eternal purpose. So don't waste time pounding on what God has sealed. Let gratitude replace grief. Thank Him for every closed door, because those very doors are shaping your discernment. You will know His voice more clearly because of what He withheld. In time, you will realize that closure is one of God's greatest gifts. It separates you from what once distracted you and points you toward what truly matters. The silence after a door closes is not the absence of God. It's the sound of Him preparing your next entrance. Walk away from what's locked without resentment. Bow your head, whisper thank you, and keep moving forward. Because behind every sealed threshold is a promise still unfolding, a door crafted specifically for the person you are becoming, not the one you used to be. And when that new door finally opens, you'll understand why the others had to close. The timing, the peace, the alignment, it will all make sense. You'll step through without striving, knowing that what's meant for you recognizes you the moment you arrive. Then gratitude will replace grief completely. You'll look back and smile, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. Every unanswered prayer, every delay, every silence was sculpting your discernment, teaching you to trust God's higher vision beyond human logic. Finally, you'll realize that divine doors never open by chance, they respond to surrender. What you release creates space for what heaven releases. So walk boldly through the next opening, knowing that no closed chapter was wasted. Every ending prepared you for the glory now unfolding. There comes a sacred point in your journey when God asks not for your perfection, but for your surrender. You have fought long enough, tried hard enough, carried enough. The Lord is not calling you to perform, He's calling you to open your hands. Because only open hands can receive new blessings. You may not realize it yet, but everything that's been stripped away from you lately has been an invitation to trust. When you lose what you thought you couldn't live without, heaven whispers, "Now you'll see that I was your source all along." The act of surrender isn't a loss, it's the beginning of divine multiplication. Picture this: a child standing on the edge of a river, holding onto a handful of stones. The water is flowing freely, but the child hesitates to let go. Then, one by one, the stones fall into the water, and suddenly, ripples begin to spread wider than the child could imagine. That's what surrender does. When you let go, heaven begins to move. God never takes without intention. Every release creates space. Every surrender makes room for restoration. You've been trying to understand why certain things left your life, but the truth is, God had to clear your hands before He could fill them again. You've prayed, "Lord, use me," but before He can use you, He must empty you. Not because He's cruel, but because He knows that the next blessing cannot fit into hands that are still clinging to yesterday's version of you. You cannot pour new oil into an old vessel. Chosen one, surrender is not weakness, it's worship. It is saying, "I trust you even when I don't understand you." It's releasing the timeline, the expectations, the need to control outcomes. It's resting in the truth that God's yes will come when you're ready to carry it with wisdom, not just excitement. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs in chapter 3 and verse 5, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." That verse is more than comfort, it's a roadmap. It invites you to loosen your grip on the steering wheel of life and allow heaven to guide the route. Sometimes the detours you fear most are the very roads that lead to peace. And while you learn to trust, remember this: every small act of faith sends a ripple through eternity. When you like this message, it is as if you're lighting a single candle in a dark cathedral, one flame that joins thousands, pushing back shadows. When you share it, you become a bridge carrying hope to someone you may never meet but whom heaven intends to reach through you. When you subscribe, you are planting your flag in holy ground, saying, "This is where I grow." It's a quiet yet powerful way of telling heaven, "Keep speaking, I'm listening." And finally, if your heart ever stirs to donate, do it not out of duty but delight. Imagine a drop of water falling into a still pond, small, gentle, yet capable of endless ripples. That's what your giving does. It becomes light, fuel, and breath for this mission, carrying these words further into the world's unseen corners. Donating is not payment, it's partnership. It's the hand of one believer extending toward another, saying, "We're in this together." The kingdom does not count by numbers, it counts by hearts aligned with purpose. Give only as the Spirit moves you. No pressure, no demand, only invitation. If all you can give is prayer, then your intercession is gold. If all you can give is a kind comment, it becomes a spark of encouragement for another soul reading after you. The smallest seeds often carry the greatest miracles. Chosen one, heaven is shifting you into a season of trust. Don't fear what leaves, expect what's coming. Because when you open your hands and release, you will find that God was never trying to take from you, He was always trying to give you something better. And when you give from the heart, whether it's time, words, or kindness, heaven always multiplies it back to you. The same God who watched the widow's 2 coins fall into the temple treasury watches you now, smiling at your quiet obedience, turning simple gestures into eternal seeds of light. Your light, chosen one, reaches farther than you can see. Each act of faith echoes like a bell in the unseen realm, calling other weary hearts home. You may never know the names of those touched by your generosity, but heaven records every ripple your spirit creates. And when doubt whispers, does it even matter? Remember this: every drop fills the ocean. Every flame joins the fire. Every soul awakened because of your faith becomes a testimony that echoes forever. You are part of something vast, ancient, and divine. So keep walking in faith, eyes lifted, heart open. The river of God flows through your surrender, and its current will carry blessings back to you in ways you least expect. Nothing freely given is ever lost. It simply travels through heaven's hands before returning multiplied. Something begins to stir in the unseen the moment you decide to let go. You may not feel it yet, but heaven has already registered your obedience. The weight that once pressed on your shoulders is being lifted, and in its place comes the wind of release, a gentle, divine current guiding you forward. There are seasons when breakthrough doesn't arrive through effort, but through surrender. You don't wrestle for it, you receive it. You don't chase it, you align with it. That's what's happening now, a holy release unlocking what was once out of reach. You've spent so long trying to fix what was never your responsibility to heal. You've tried to hold together pieces that God Himself allowed to break. But now, the divine exchange takes place. Heaven is saying, it's finished. The fight is over. You've been walking under an invisible weight of spiritual residue, past emotions, old attachments, lingering guilt. Yet in this sacred moment, something within you exhales. The atmosphere of your soul shifts. What once drained you loses its grip because you no longer feed it with fear. Chosen one. This is your prophetic moment of release. Not a loud explosion, but a quiet transformation. The kind that rewrites your future in silence. The kind that turns scars into stories, and stories into strength. You prayed for breakthrough, but heaven wanted to give you something greater: freedom. The apostle reminds us in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 17. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. That's not a metaphor, it's a promise. Wherever God's Spirit moves, bondage must break. And right now, that same Spirit hovers over you, untangling what's been knotted for years. This is not just emotional release, it's spiritual surgery. The divine hand of God reaches into unseen places, removing what no longer belongs, sealing wounds that once defined you. You might not cry, you might not shake, but deep down, you know something has shifted. The noise of old memories fades. The accusations that once echoed in your mind grow silent. What once triggered pain now feels strangely distant, as though heaven erased its sting. That's the proof of freedom. It's not about how loud your praise sounds, but how light your spirit feels when you stand afterward. You are being rewritten quietly, faithfully, fully. This moment marks your spiritual exhale. You're not losing anything worth keeping, you're releasing what was never meant to stay. Every tear you cried watered the soil of new beginnings. Every battle you endured forged your authority for this next chapter. Release doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you start healing. It means trusting that whatever left your hands is safe in God's, and He is far better at holding things than you ever were. As you read this, breathe deeply. Feel peace entering as you stop fighting battles that are no longer yours. You are being prepared for divine acceleration, but acceleration only comes when your hands are free. This release isn't a loss. It's a trade: pain for purpose, confusion for clarity, fear for faith. What's leaving your life today clears the path for what's arriving tomorrow. The door of heaviness closes, the door of divine flow opens. Pause here for a moment. Let gratitude rise from within. Whisper softly, "Thank you, Lord, for freedom." That whisper is louder in heaven than any shout could ever be. And now, as a prophetic act, a symbol that you've let go, that you've made peace with your past and embraced this divine shift, comment the number 555 below. Why 555? Because it represents grace multiplied, divine change, heavenly completion, and freedom unfolding. It's not superstition, It's symbolism. It's your way of saying, I am aligned with heaven's transformation. Type it with intention, not as a gesture, but as covenant. Every time you see it, let it remind you that grace is active in your life, working even when you can't see it. Heaven records the obedience of small actions as deeply as grand ones. You are stepping into the kind of peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, a peace that simply is. You have finally learned that nothing released in faith is ever truly lost. The Spirit of the Lord hovers over you now, sealing this chapter with divine calm. The breakthrough you prayed for isn't coming, it's already begun. And from this moment on, you'll notice it, the ease, the quiet joy, the clarity returning to your spirit. What once felt heavy will now feel holy. You are no longer striving, you are flowing. Heaven has confirmed it, your release is complete, and your new beginning has begun. You'll walk lighter now, carrying only peace where burdens used to rest. The past will no longer chase you, it will cheer for you. Every step forward will echo freedom. Every breath will feel like grace, and heaven itself will whisper. This is what release was always meant to feel like. Fire has a way of revealing what was always meant to last. It consumes what is temporary but refines what is true. Every chosen one must walk through the flame at some point, not to be destroyed, but to be purified. You are in that season now, the refining fire of God's love. At first, it feels cruel. Everything familiar begins to shake. What once made sense no longer brings peace. The people who used to understand you seem distant. The plans that once motivated you now feel empty. It's because the divine heat has been turned up, and heaven is melting away everything that isn't aligned with your purpose. You prayed for transformation, and this is the answer. The fire is not punishment, it's promotion. It burns away illusions, false attachments, hidden pride, and every layer that keeps you from authenticity. Gold doesn't fear fire, it knows the flame only reveals its worth. The same is true for you. The discomfort you feel isn't evidence of abandonment. It's the sign of purification. The hand of God is steady, intentional, and merciful. He knows exactly how long to hold you in the fire, never too long, never too short, enough to shape you, never to shatter you. Every trial you've endured was part of this holy process. When you were misunderstood, betrayed, or left alone, those moments weren't wasted. The heat of those experiences softened your heart and sharpened your discernment. You now see things that once passed unnoticed. That's what fire does, it awakens perception. Chosen one. If it feels like everything is falling apart, understand this: nothing pure ever fears the flame. What is from God will endure it. What is not will dissolve. Let it. Don't try to rescue what's being burned away. The ashes of old seasons become the soil of new growth. Think of the blacksmith shaping steel. The metal must be heated to its breaking point before it can be molded into something strong. In the same way, God allows intensity not to destroy your character but to fortify it. The heat reveals the cracks not to shame you, but to heal what's hidden. Every tear you've cried in this process has been sacred. Heaven collects them all. The fire doesn't consume your identity, it clarifies it. You are being transformed from the inside out. Your reactions are changing. Your words are softer. Your spirit steadier. That's evidence that the refining has begun to bear fruit. As was spoken in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 3, He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. Notice it says He sits. God doesn't rush the refining. He stays close, watching every moment, ensuring you're never consumed. The silversmith never looks away while the metal is purified. The moment the silver reflects the face of the smith, the fire stops. That's exactly what God is doing in your life. He will keep the flame until your reflection mirrors his image, patient, strong, humble, full of light. And when he sees himself in you, the intensity will fade, and you'll step out shimmering with new purpose. You may not recognize it now, but you are glowing differently. People who encounter you sense something they can't explain, peace that survived the storm, light that didn't dim in darkness. You've been through too much to come out unchanged. The fire was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to distinguish you. Others went through similar trials and turned bitter. But you chose to believe. You kept walking even when the smoke stung your eyes. That faith refined your soul into something rare and radiant. Now, when you speak, your words carry weight, the fragrance of endurance, the scent of someone who's walked through flame and found beauty beyond it. You've become a vessel through which others can see what divine resilience looks like. One day soon, you'll look back and thank God for every painful, refining moment. Those fires that once terrified you were actually the forges of your anointing. You'll see that each flame had a purpose to make you unshakable, unbreakable, and undeniably chosen. So if you're still feeling the heat, don't panic. It means God is still at work, still forming you, still perfecting his masterpiece. Stay steady in the flame. The same God who lit the fire will call you out of it at the right time, radiant, pure, unstoppable. And when you emerge, the world will know. They'll see the quiet strength in your eyes, the peace that cannot be shaken, the glow that no suffering could dim. You'll walk differently, speak differently because you have been touched by holy fire and lived to tell its story. Every ember that once burned you now lights your path. Every scar has become a symbol of grace. You'll no longer fear the flame, you'll carry it. The fire that once tested you now testifies through you, proof that divine refinement ends not in ashes, but in glory. The wilderness is a strange and holy place. It is not the destination, but the corridor between what was and what will be. Many fear it because it looks empty, but the emptiness is deceptive. In truth, the wilderness is full of whispers, full of lessons, full of divine presence. It is where God hides you, not to punish you, but to prepare you. You find yourself there when everything familiar falls silent. The noise of the world fades, the applause stops, the distractions dry up. Suddenly, there's just you and God. It feels lonely, but it's actually sacred isolation. Every chosen one must walk through this stretch of stillness because revelation requires quiet. The wilderness strips you of what you thought you needed so that you can discover who you truly are. There are no mirrors there except the eyes of God. You can't rely on validation or opinion because no one else is watching. It's just the desert and your dependence. That's where the real transformation happens, not in the spotlight, but in the silence. In this barren place, you start to hear differently. The voice of God no longer competes with the noise of ambition or fear. It becomes clear, precise, unmistakable. You begin to understand that he was never far. He was just waiting for the distractions to fade. What looked like isolation was actually invitation. The wilderness has always been a classroom for the called. Moses met God there in the burning bush. Elijah heard the still small voice there. Even Jesus walked into the wilderness before his public mission began. Every great move of God starts with solitude. You are not being forgotten. You are being formed. Chosen one. The wilderness removes illusions. It teaches you the difference between being busy and being fruitful, between being noticed and being known. You start to see how much of your identity was tied to activity. But when all of that is stripped away, something holy remains: the unshakable awareness that you belong to God. Even when no one is clapping, there are moments when the silence feels unbearable. You pray and hear nothing. You ask and receive no answer. You start to wonder if heaven has turned away. But this is where trust grows teeth. This is where faith matures beyond feelings. You learn to believe not because of signs, but because of history, because you remember the times he came through before. Heaven speaks softly through the Gospel of Luke, chapter 5, verse 16. But Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. Even the Son of God needed solitude to stay aligned with the Father's heart. If he sought quiet, why should you despise it? The wilderness is not the absence of God. It's the assurance that he wants your attention undivided. You begin to notice the subtle gifts in this stillness. The way the light hits the early morning sky, the way peace begins to rise uninvited, the way you start to breathe slower, deeper. God is reteaching you the rhythm of grace, the art of resting in him rather than running from him. Every day in the wilderness shapes you for what's ahead. The hunger teaches you dependence. The silence trains your hearing. The solitude refines your motives. You begin to crave not success, but substance. You start asking not, when will I leave this place, but what am I supposed to learn here? Eventually, the wilderness becomes home. You stop fighting the stillness and start finding strength in it. You realize that the absence of people has made room for the presence of God. You are no longer afraid of being unseen because you finally understand that heaven's approval outweighs human applause. This season is not punishment, it's pruning. God is cutting away the unnecessary so you can walk lighter into the next phase of destiny. You may not see the fruit yet, but the roots are going deep. The foundation being built in silence will one day sustain the weight of your calling in public. So let the wilderness do its work. Don't rush it. Don't resent it. This is where you learn the language of heaven, the pauses, the whispers, the peace that doesn't depend on circumstance. What you gain here will follow you for the rest of your life. One day, when the season shifts, you'll look back on these quiet days and realize that they were not wasted. Every unanswered prayer was a brick in your foundation. Every lonely night was a meeting with purpose. Every silent morning was an encounter disguised as stillness. You will emerge from this place stronger, wiser, softer, and surer of who you are. You'll carry the wilderness within you not as a memory of pain, but as proof of intimacy. Because once you've walked with God in solitude, you'll never again mistake crowd noise for his voice. You've walked through the wilderness and something inside you has changed. The noise of the world doesn't tempt you like it used to. The stillness that once felt unbearable has become sacred. You are beginning to recognize the weight of your presence, not arrogance, but awareness. Darkness trembles when you walk into a room because your light no longer flickers. It burns steady. Chosen one. This is the moment when heaven reveals what has been hidden within you all along. Authority. You've been carrying it, but now you're learning how to use it. Every time you refuse to bow to fear, every time you forgave instead of fighting back, you are sharpening your sword. The silence of the wilderness has given birth to spiritual power. Your light is not fragile, it is fierce. It pierces through confusion, breaks generational patterns, and exposes deception. You are not here to blend in. You are here to confront darkness simply by being who you are. You carry a presence that unsettles the enemy because your spirit operates under divine authority. There's a reason the attacks intensified before this moment. The enemy fears what's awakening inside you. He fears your confidence, your clarity, your calling. But he can no longer touch you the way he once did, because your spirit now recognizes his tactics. The very areas where you once felt weak have become the places of your greatest discernment. You are the living proof that light doesn't have to shout to be powerful. It only needs to shine. You no longer chase validation because you finally understand your value was never up for negotiation. Every time you choose peace over panic, forgiveness over revenge, truth over convenience, you are waging a quiet war and winning it. The voice of heaven reminds you through the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. That verse is not poetic, it's prophetic. It describes you. You are the manifestation of that truth light embodied, persistence personified. The darkness around you cannot comprehend, contain, or extinguish the radiance that God Himself ignited within your soul. You may not feel powerful every day, but that's because true power isn't about emotion. It's about essence. Light doesn't need to feel strong to shine, it simply exists. And existence itself becomes resistance. The same applies to you. Just by being obedient, you defy darkness. Your light terrifies what's hidden. That's why certain people couldn't stay close to you. It's why old environments became uncomfortable. Your spirit began to carry an energy that exposed everything unaligned. The enemy can't stand proximity to purity, but don't mourn what left. Rejoice in what remains truth, peace, and purpose. When you step into any place now, heaven steps in with you. You are not walking alone. You are walking surrounded by divine fire. And that fire speaks. It says, "This one belongs to God." The world needs what you carry, not performance, but presence. Not perfection, but authenticity. You don't have to force influence. Your obedience is influence. The way you live, the way you love, the way you forgive, all of it preaches louder than any sermon. Still, remember, this light can only remain bright if it stays connected to its source. Don't let success separate you from the silence that made you strong. Keep returning to the secret place, because it is there that your flame is refilled. Now, as a symbol of your awakening, as a declaration that you choose to remain a carrier of divine light no matter what darkness surrounds you, comment below, "I shine on." Write it as more than a phrase. Let it be a vow. When you type those words, you are reminding yourself and all unseen forces that your light will not dim to make others comfortable. You shine because you were born to. You shine because God placed His fire within you. Each letter you write declares resistance to despair. Each word proclaims identity. Heaven sees it and echoes back, "Yes, you shine on." The darkness has already lost its claim over your life, and the glow you now carry will guide others out of their shadows. The world may not understand it, but it will feel it, because when a chosen one walks in their light, the atmosphere changes. And that, beloved warrior, is exactly what you were created for. When you write, "I shine on," you are not boasting, you are bearing witness. You are declaring to heaven and earth that your light is divine, not borrowed. You are confirming that no season, shadow, or voice of doubt will ever dim what God Himself ignited inside you. When you write, "I shine on," you are accepting your assignment to illuminate, to uplift, to reveal truth without fear. Those 3 words are your covenant of courage. Each time you speak or type them, heaven hears, darkness trembles, and your spirit remembers you were never meant to hide, you were made to shine. When light is released, acceleration follows. The moment you let go, when you stopped clinging to what was, heaven began to move on your behalf. Doors that once resisted you start to open effortlessly. Paths that seemed blocked begin to clear. This is what divine acceleration feels like, not frantic but fluid. not rushed but radiant. You're stepping into a season where what once took years will take moments. It's not because you're suddenly more qualified, but because you're finally aligned. When purpose and timing hold hands, miracles manifest naturally. God redeems time. He restores what was lost, delayed, or forgotten. The prophet Joel declared it long ago, "I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten." That's what heaven is doing for you now. Every tear, every waiting season, every silent prayer, they weren't wasted. They were investments in divine timing. And now, the return on that investment is coming in waves. You may notice blessings arriving quietly, without announcement. A phone call that changes everything. An opportunity that finds you without effort. A peace that settles in places where anxiety used to live. This is acceleration, but it's also grace, God's way of saying, "You waited well, waited. Chosen one." Acceleration is not just speed, it's alignment. It's when your preparation meets God's perfect moment. You don't have to chase what's yours, it will find you. Your obedience has created momentum in heaven, and now heaven is responding. But even in acceleration, there is purpose. God is not rushing you. He's releasing you. Like an arrow pulled back in tension. You were stretched not to stay hidden, but to be sent farther than before. The pullback was never punishment. It was propulsion. And as you move with divine momentum, remember the power of unity. When you like this message, you're not just tapping a screen, you're sending a spark into the digital sky. It's like lighting a lantern that joins thousands of others, creating a trail of light for those still lost in their storms. When you share, imagine yourself as a river carrying living water from your heart to another soul that's running dry. You don't know who might drink from that stream, who might whisper through tears. This was the sign I needed. Your one act of sharing might be the bridge between despair and hope for someone else. When you subscribe, you are planting a seed in fertile soil. It's not about following a page, it's about choosing to stay connected to the flow of encouragement that God uses to reach you. Each notification becomes a reminder He's still speaking. I'm still listening, and if your heart ever feels led to donate, let it be like the act of adding wood to a fire that's already burning brightly. Not because the fire is dying, but because you want the warmth to reach farther. Every bit of fuel you add extends the light to more hearts, more nations, more weary souls waiting for a spark of hope. Donating is not obligation, it's overflow. It's the language of gratitude turned into action. It's saying, "Lord, I believe in what you're doing here. I want to keep the flame alive." Even the smallest offering becomes sacred when given with sincerity. The widow's 2 coins were recorded for eternity, not because of the amount, but because of the heart behind them. That same divine recognition meets every seed sown with love. If you can't give, pray. If you can't pray long, whisper blessings. Every act counts. In the kingdom, obedience matters more than scale. Chosen one, acceleration is not only about receiving, it's about redistributing. As God speeds up your breakthroughs, He also invites you to be a vessel of blessing. You are not just running toward destiny, you are carrying light along the way, passing it from one soul to another. And remember, this divine speed requires divine stillness. Stay grounded in the same presence that brought you here. Continue returning to your secret place, to prayer, to worship, because acceleration without anchoring becomes chaos. But acceleration anchored in God becomes testimony. Your story is no longer standing still. The clock that once mocked you is now serving you. Heaven is moving quickly, but gently, as if even time itself has decided to obey the rhythm of your purpose. So walk forward with gratitude. You are not behind. You are right on schedule. The years that felt lost are being redeemed, and what's coming next will unfold with ease. And as this light continues to spread through words, through screens, through hearts, may your spirit remember you are part of something eternal. Every like is a lantern. Every share is a bridge. Every subscription is a root. Every donation is a spark. Together, these small flames create a constellation of hope across the world. And heaven looks down and smiles, saying, "Look at my light, it lives in them." Fire has a way of telling the truth. It strips away the unnecessary, melts the illusions, and exposes what was always pure underneath. Every chosen one must pass through it, not to be destroyed, but to be revealed. The refining fire of God does not consume identity. It uncovers it. At first, the flames seem merciless. You look around and realize that what once felt stable is now uncertain. Relationships shift, opportunities dissolve, familiar comforts turn to ashes. You wonder, why would a loving God allow this? But the truth is, love sometimes burns, not to hurt, but to heal. The fire does what words cannot, it purifies. It's easy to love God on the mountaintop, but in the fire, worship becomes raw, honest, and real. You stop performing faith and start living it. Every layer of pride, fear, and self-reliance is melted down until only dependence remains. The fire teaches you what can't be taught in calm seasons. It's the sacred classroom where theory becomes testimony. When you feel the heat, remember, this is not destruction, this is definition. God is shaping your character the way a sculptor shapes metal with precision, patience, and purpose. You are being refined for your next assignment, not punished for your last mistake. The furnace you're walking through is heaven's workshop. Think of gold, it does not complain in the fire. It simply endures until the impurities rise to the surface. Then the refiner removes them, again and again, until the gold reflects his face. That's what God is doing with you. He will not take his eyes off the process until he can see his reflection shining back. You may not see progress day by day, but transformation is happening molecule by molecule, prayer by prayer. The tears you shed in this season are not signs of weakness. They're evidence that your heart is still soft, still responsive to God. That tenderness is proof you are being shaped into his image. The ancient words recorded in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 3. Still echo today, he will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. Notice that he sits. He doesn't leave you unattended in the flame. He stays close, eyes fixed on every spark, ensuring that the intensity never exceeds what you can bear. The refiner's presence is the guarantee of protection. You are not alone in the fire, you are accompanied by purpose. This is the mystery of refinement. The same flame that frightens you also frees you. It burns away fear, resentment, and regret until what's left is unshakable peace. You begin to see the pattern, how every loss became liberation, how every unanswered prayer became redirection. What the fire removes, you never truly needed. What remains is what will last forever. Your patience, your integrity, your compassion. These are the treasures that survive heat. They are the unburnable parts of you, the eternal core that no trial can destroy. Chosen one, you are not being tested for punishment but for promotion. The greater the calling, the deeper the refinement. God cannot entrust heavy crowns to untested hearts. The fire doesn't disqualify you, it qualifies you. As the days pass, you begin to feel a shift. The heat that once terrified you now feels familiar, almost sacred. You start recognizing God's presence in the very places you once tried to escape. The pain turns to power. The waiting turns to wisdom. The ashes beneath your feet become fertile soil for new beginnings. You'll notice it in subtle ways. First, your reactions soften. Your words carry more grace. Your peace is no longer fragile. You've stopped fighting for control because you've learned that surrender is strength. You've discovered that the God who allowed the flame also stands in it with you. Soon, what others see as scars will become your credentials. The very things that once broke you will now become the proof of your calling. People will see the glow in your eyes, the calm in your voice, and wonder how you've survived. You'll smile gently, knowing the answer: I didn't just survive, I was refined. The refining fire doesn't end your story, it transforms it. It turns your heart into an altar and your pain into praise. It prepares you to carry greater light without being consumed by it. And when you finally step out of the flames, you won't carry the smell of smoke, only the fragrance of grace. Every ember that once threatened to destroy you will now illuminate your path forward. The light inside you will no longer flicker. It will blaze with holy steadiness. The fire has not reduced you, it has revealed you. You are purer, stronger, wiser, and ready. What once burned you now brightens you. You have been refined for purpose, and heaven itself recognizes the glow that marks the chosen. And now, as you walk out of the flames, the world will see it, the quiet strength in your gaze, the peace that needs no explanation. Every trial has become light in your hands, and every scar, a story of glory. You are refined, radiant, and utterly unshakable. Something powerful happens when confirmation arrives. It's not always loud, not always wrapped in lightning or thunder. Sometimes it's quiet, a verse that appears at the right time, a dream that carries peace, a stranger's word that matches what you've been praying in secret. These are not coincidences, they are heaven's fingerprints. You've reached the point in your journey where signs begin to surround you. They appear like divine breadcrumbs, leading you toward the next chapter of your destiny. The same God who called you through the wilderness is now sending confirmation that the season has shifted. This is not imagination, it's invitation. You start to notice patterns, numbers repeating, phrases echoing, people appearing at the perfect moment. Your spirit recognizes these moments because heaven communicates in ways only the chosen understand. What others dismiss as chance, your heart knows as guidance. The prophet Amos once declared, in the book that bears his name, chapter 3, verse 7, "Surely the sovereign Lord does nothing without revealing his plan to his servants, the prophets." That revelation doesn't belong only to ancient days. It flows even now through dreams, impressions, scriptures, and divine timing. God doesn't leave his children guessing. When you walk with him, every sign becomes a sentence in the story he's writing through you. Chosen one, you are not lost. The path may feel unclear, but heaven is communicating. Listen closely, not just with your ears, but with your spirit. Confirmation is not meant to entertain curiosity. It's meant to strengthen conviction. When you receive it, don't just observe, respond. Say, "I hear you. Lord, I'm ready." Many ignore divine signals because they expect something grand. But God often speaks in the ordinary. The whisper during your commute, the song that plays exactly when you need comfort, the verse that shows up twice in a day. Heaven speaks through repetition to ensure you don't miss the message. You might ask, why does God send signs at all? Because he knows your heart needs assurance. He knows that obedience feels lighter when confirmation follows. Every divine hint is a reminder that you're seen, guided, and deeply known. The creator of galaxies still speaks personally to you. This is not superstition, it's relationship. You are walking with a living God who delights in communicating with his children. The signs are his love language. He doesn't use them to confuse you, but to comfort you, to align your spirit with his timing. You've matured in discernment. You now understand that not every open door is divine, and not every delay is demonic. You've learned to test the spirit behind every sign, to ask, does this lead me closer to peace or further into fear? That question alone has kept you from countless distractions. Now, as you read these words, heaven whispers another confirmation: you are entering a new season of visibility. The time of hiding is ending. The years of quiet preparation are about to bear fruit. The seeds planted in silence will soon shout their harvest. This is your divine turning point, turning. And in this sacred moment, as an act of faith and agreement, comment the number 444 below. Why 444? Because it represents divine order, stability, and completion in transition. It's heaven's way of saying, you are aligned, you are protected, you are exactly where you're meant to be. When you type it, don't treat it as a symbol, treat it as a seal. It is your acknowledgement that you've heard, that you've recognized, that you are responding. Heaven honors action. This number becomes your prophetic signature, a declaration that you're walking in synchronization with God's plan. After you comment, pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Breathe. Feel the confirmation settle in your chest like a steady flame. The anxiety that once made you question yourself will begin to dissolve. You will know deeply, quietly, that this word was for you. From this moment forward, may you move with peace instead of pressure, with assurance instead of anxiety. You no longer chase signs. Signs now follow you. Every step you take from here will echo alignment. Every breath you release will carry confidence. You are not waiting for permission. Heaven has already spoken. Walk boldly into the new chapter that's calling your name. When you write 444, you're not chasing a trend, you're answering a call. Those 3 numbers become your silent prayer, a digital altar where your faith leaves its fingerprint. It's a small act with eternal weight, your way of saying, Lord, I recognize your voice. I receive your order. When you write 444, heaven records it as agreement. It's a declaration that you are in sync with divine timing. You're telling God, I trust your sequence more than my schedule. It's an alignment statement, where fear loses its grip and trust takes the lead. And when you write 444, you're setting a rhythm in motion, stability, structure, and spiritual completion unfolding before your eyes. Every time you see that number again, remember this moment: you didn't just type it. You testified with your faith. Obedience is not submission to control, it is agreement with destiny. It is the sacred act of saying yes when you don't fully understand, of moving when heaven whispers, even when logic says stay still. Every chosen one learns that obedience is not the end of freedom, but its beginning. You've discovered by now that obedience often feels uncomfortable. It rarely comes with applause, and it frequently requires sacrifice. God's instructions are not always convenient, but they are always constructive. He asks you to release, to forgive, to go, to wait, not to restrict your life, but to redirect it toward fulfillment. Many hear God's voice but hesitate to respond. You, however, are learning the beauty of immediate obedience, the kind that doesn't demand full explanation before it acts. You've realized that delayed obedience is still disobedience, and partial obedience is still resistance. The path to peace is paved with surrendered yeses. At times, obedience has felt like loss. You've had to walk away from things and people that felt safe but no longer served your purpose. Yet, each goodbye became a seed for greater growth. What you thought you were losing was actually what God was pruning, making space for new fruit to emerge. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 19. If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. That promise remains unbroken. Willingness opens the door. Obedience walks through it. You are standing now on the edge of fulfillment, the point where surrender starts bearing visible fruit. Chosen one. Obedience doesn't always shout. Sometimes it looks like closing your mouth when you want to defend yourself. Sometimes it looks like showing kindness to the one who misunderstood you. Other times, it means walking away quietly from battles you've already won. True obedience doesn't seek validation, it seeks alignment. God often gives simple instructions that lead to supernatural outcomes. Build, wait, go, forgive. These single words carry eternal consequences. You never know what breakthrough hides inside a single act of obedience. Noah built an ark before rain existed. Abraham left home not knowing his destination. Every miracle begins with a yes. This is why heaven trains your ear before it releases your crown. Authority without obedience becomes arrogance. The strength of your anointing flows from the posture of surrender. You cannot command heaven's power if you resist heaven's direction. There's a reason you feel peace after obeying, even when it costs you something. That peace is confirmation that your steps are synchronized with divine rhythm. You may not always see the reward immediately, but obedience always deposits unseen blessings into your future. Think of it like planting a tree. You obey by putting the seed into the soil, even though you can't see fruit yet. Days may pass without visible change, but underground, roots are taking hold. Then suddenly, at the right time, growth bursts through the surface. Every act of obedience is a root growing toward future harvest. Obedience refines your hearing. The more you say yes, the clearer his voice becomes. You start realizing that his directions aren't random, they're relational. They are the language of partnership between creator and creation. In your quiet moments, you may still feel the tension between wanting control and wanting peace. But each time you choose obedience, you move closer to rest. Peace isn't found in perfect circumstances, it's found in perfect alignment. Sometimes obedience means waiting longer than you wanted. Other times it means moving faster than you feel ready. Either way, it carries grace. God never gives a command without also giving the strength to fulfill it. Every yes unlocks new layers of divine assistance. You'll look back and see your greatest miracles were hidden in your hardest obediences. Each time you followed the still small voice instead of the loud crowd. Heaven moved mountains you didn't even know were there. Obedience will make you brave, consistent, unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because faith grows stronger. When you walk in obedience, fear loses its leverage. You no longer need all the answers. You simply need assurance that God spoke and that's enough. Chosen one, your obedience is your crown. It separates the called from the chosen. Anyone can believe, few prove it through surrender. But you have chosen the narrow road. On that road, peace and purpose wait faithfully. Let your yes remain steady. Even when your heart trembles, heaven honors those who obey through uncertainty, who act with trust instead of explanation. Because when obedience becomes your lifestyle, miracles become your normal. You are walking into a season where obedience won't feel heavy anymore. It will feel natural, like breathing. Because when you've walked long enough with God, His will becomes your instinct. And that, chosen one, is the greatest freedom of all. And when obedience becomes instinct, peace follows like a shadow that never leaves. You stop striving to hear God's voice because now You live inside it. There is a quiet restoration happening within you, almost invisible to the eye but undeniable to the soul. The same God who walked with you through the fire and wilderness is now breathing new strength into your being. This is the season of reclamation, the return of power that once felt lost. Power in this sense isn't control or dominance. It's spiritual authority. It's the ability to stand firm in peace while storms rage around you. It's the quiet courage to speak truth in love, to move forward even when the path seems unclear. You are reclaiming something holy, the confidence to walk as one who knows they are chosen. There were seasons when you felt powerless, when your prayers seemed to echo unanswered, when your voice felt small and unseen. Yet, all along, heaven was gathering the fragments of your strength, refining them, and returning them to you with greater potency. The delay was never denial. It was development. Every moment you stayed faithful in silence. Every time you chose prayer over panic. Every tear you released in surrender, all of it built a foundation for this moment. You are no longer operating from the frailty of striving, but from the stability of grace. Your power now flows not from effort, but from alignment. The ancient words recorded in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19. Carry timeless truth, behold. I give you authority to trample on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. That authority is not theoretical, it's experiential. It's the authority of someone who has wrestled with darkness and refused to bow. You have learned to pray when weary, to forgive when wounded, to speak life when surrounded by death. That is power. That is dominion born through humility. Chosen one. The enemy tried to convince you that your voice no longer mattered. He whispered lies of insignificance, hoping you would silence yourself. But those lies crumble under the weight of your endurance. You've learned that your authority doesn't come from volume, it comes from intimacy with God. You now speak differently. When you pray, heaven responds. When you decree, the atmosphere shifts. You don't just carry words, you carry weight, because your power is rooted not in position but in posture. The bowed heart becomes the most powerful weapon in spiritual warfare. Power that comes from pride collapses. Power that comes from purity conquers. That's the difference between influence and anointing. Influence impresses, anointing transforms. You've stopped chasing the stage because you realized the altar was always greater. The moments when you were alone, crying out to God, were the very moments heaven was crowning you in secret. This is what restoration feels like, not sudden explosions of success, but a gradual return of peace, clarity, and conviction. You're no longer afraid to speak truth, but you no longer need to prove it either. That balance, that quiet strength is what marks those who've walked through divine refining. God is restoring not just your voice, but your vision. Where confusion once lived, there is clarity. Where fear used to whisper, there is faith. The same situations that used to drain you now reveal opportunities for growth. You are learning to see as heaven sees, to discern instead of react, to bless instead of break. You are standing in spiritual authority because you've learned what real power is: the ability to stay kind when it's easier to be cruel, to stay hopeful when disappointment lingers, to stay pure in a culture that celebrates compromise. That is power the world cannot imitate. The restoration of your power is not for dominance, it's for deliverance. You are being re-empowered to lift others, to intercede for those still trapped in their storms, to speak light into their darkness. God didn't restore you just for survival. He restored you for service. You will notice it soon, how your words carry peace into chaotic rooms, how your prayers open doors for others, how people begin to feel calm just by being near you. That's the evidence of divine authority returning. You've become a carrier of heaven's atmosphere. Chosen one. What was stolen has been returned sevenfold. Every ounce of energy you thought was wasted has been woven into wisdom. Every spiritual battle that drained you has deepened your discernment. The power you walk in now is gentler but stronger, quieter but surer. And here's the beauty of it: you no longer fear losing it, because you know its source. Power that comes from striving can vanish. Power that comes from surrender never fades. You are a vessel constantly filled, constantly flowing, constantly renewed. So stand tall but stay humble. Move forward but remain grounded. You are walking in divine authority, not as a conqueror over people, but as a servant of purpose. This is the power that transforms environments and restores hearts. What once silenced you will now amplify you. What once broke you will now bless through you. You are not just regaining strength, you are becoming strength personified. The light that was refined in fire now shines through every word, every step, every breath. This is the return of your power, holy, humble, and unstoppable. When heaven calls your name, something inside you awakens. It's not a sound you hear with your ears, but a vibration you feel in your spirit, that quiet knowing that your season of preparation has met its moment of manifestation. This is where the mantle awakens the divine assignment that has been waiting for your obedience to ripen. You have been hidden for so long, being shaped in silence, refined in obscurity. And now, God is bringing you forward, not for attention, but for assignment. The world doesn't need another echo. It needs a voice, and your voice carries heaven's tone. You've been entrusted with influence, not as a stage, but as a stewardship. When a mantle rests on a chosen one, it feels heavier than before, but it's not the weight of burden, it's the weight of responsibility. Heaven trusts you with hearts, not crowds. With impact, not image. The anointing that covers you now isn't loud, it's luminous. It doesn't shout, it shines. You will begin to notice it in the small things first, how your words land softer but deeper. How your presence carries peace where there used to be tension. The mantle doesn't announce itself. It simply reveals itself through fruit. The anointing doesn't need validation. It proves itself through transformation. The prophet Isaiah once wrote, in the 61st chapter and 1st verse, "The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor." That same Spirit rests upon you now. You are not here to imitate anyone else's mission. You are here to fulfill your own. Your story, your scars, your survival, all of it has become part of heaven's message to the world through you. You are walking into divine visibility. The same hands that once trembled in uncertainty now carry oil. The same voice that once whispered in fear will soon declare with boldness. But remember, visibility is not vanity. To carry a mantle is to carry service. Every miracle you witness, every word you speak, every heart you touch, it's all borrowed glory returning to its rightful source. And as this light spreads, remember how beautifully interconnected we are. When you like this message, it's more than a click, it's a spark. It's the sound of your spirit saying, "I agree with this light. I choose to let it flow through me." When you share, it becomes a ripple in eternity. Imagine tossing a pebble into still water circles, expanding outward, reaching shores you'll never see. That's what your share does. It sends hope into the unseen corners of the world, reminding someone that their silence still holds a song. When you comment, you're not just engaging, you're engraving. Your words become living stones in this altar of faith. Each comment is like a candle placed beside another one, light joining another until the darkness has nowhere left to hide. When you subscribe, it's like returning to a familiar well, not out of obligation, but thirst. You're saying, "This stream refreshes me. I want to drink again." It's how you stay near the flow of what heaven keeps pouring out. And if ever your heart feels moved to donate, let it not be because you're asked, but because you're inspired. Giving is not a requirement, it's a reflection. It's like planting a tree whose shade you may never sit under, but knowing that someone else will. Your gift becomes a root system for messages like this to keep growing, reaching, and comforting those who are still finding their way home. There's no transaction here, only transformation. Each act, no matter how small, becomes part of something sacred. It's as if every like, every share, every word, every seed sown becomes light woven into the fabric of a greater story, the story of God's chosen rising across the earth. Chosen one. The mantle on your life is not for decoration, it's for demonstration. You are not here to impress, you are here to impact. And impact doesn't always look like noise, sometimes it looks like compassion, consistency, and courage. Carry your anointing with humility, not haste. Walk in wisdom, not worry. Speak softly, but carry divine strength. For what you hold now is not fragile, it's fire wrapped in grace. And the more you release it, the brighter it will burn. This is your calling, your crown, your continuation. Heaven has entrusted you with a piece of its light. Handle it with reverence. But don't hide it. The world needs your glow, and as you keep shining, may others find the courage to uncover their own. You are not just chosen to receive, you are chosen to radiate. Every good work that flows through you is an echo of divine generosity, proof that the mantle didn't make you greater, it made you a giver. So walk forward, light bearer. The mantle is no longer sleeping, it has awakened, and so have you. Identity is not something you find, it's something you remember. Beneath every label, every wound, every role you've played for survival, there has always been a truer you, quiet, luminous, steady. This season is about remembering that person and walking in the full weight of who you already are. The shaking, the loss, the stripping away, it all had a purpose. God was removing false definitions, peeling back layers of expectations that the world, and sometimes even religion, had placed upon you. He wanted to show you that your worth was never in your performance, your productivity, or your perfection. It was always in your being, simply in who He created you to be. Walking in new identity feels both exhilarating and strange. You catch glimpses of yourself in the mirror of God's Word and realize how much you've changed. The things that once consumed you no longer hold the same power. The opinions that used to define you now fade into background noise. There's a deep stillness where anxiety once lived. That peace is not a phase, it's the signature of transformation. This identity is not borrowed, it's built. You earned it through obedience, through endurance, through nights you thought would break you but didn't. You've been refined, and now you recognize the difference between who you were and who you are becoming. The wilderness stripped you, the fire refined you, and now purpose clothes you. The Apostle Paul wrote to the Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has gone, the new has come. That verse isn't symbolic, it's personal. The old you has truly gone. The voice of fear that once dictated your choices has grown faint. The insecurities that whispered you were unworthy have lost authority. You now walk with the awareness that you were never defined by what happened to you, but by what God placed within you. This new identity carries peace but also responsibility. To know who you are means you can no longer live as though you don't. You can't hide in shadows that no longer fit. You can't shrink to make others comfortable. The cost of clarity is courage, and you are strong enough to pay it. Walking in new identity is not arrogance, it's alignment. It means living from truth rather than reaction, from grace rather than guilt. You're learning to speak differently, to move intentionally, to love without fear. You're no longer chasing approval, you're walking in assurance. This assurance doesn't make life easy, but it makes it meaningful. You see purpose in what once felt pointless. You forgive faster. You protect your peace without apology. You've stopped explaining your light to those committed to misunderstanding it. You no longer waste energy convincing others of your calling, you simply live it. Chosen one. Walking in new identity doesn't mean you've arrived. It means you've awakened. It's the realization that your life was never about climbing ladders or collecting accolades. It was always about embodying grace. You are no longer performing for belonging. You are living from it. When you speak now, your words carry a weight that wasn't there before. It's the authority of authenticity. You've discovered that power doesn't come from perfection, it comes from presence. People will feel something different when they encounter you, not because you're louder or more impressive, but because you're real. You've learned the secret of wholeness. It's not about never being broken again. It's about knowing that even broken pieces can still reflect light. You no longer hide your scars, you honor them. They are proof of process, evidence that redemption works. The old you fought to be seen. The new you shines effortlessly. You no longer fear losing yourself in the service of others because you finally know your source. Identity rooted in God can't be taken, only revealed. You walk differently now, slower, steadier, more intentional. You no longer rush to prove, you rest to prepare. The rhythm of your life has shifted from survival to surrender. You are walking in step with grace itself. And as you continue this journey, remember, new identity doesn't erase history. It redeems it. Every failure becomes a chapter of wisdom. Every mistake becomes a testimony of mercy. Every ending becomes evidence of new beginnings. You are not who you were last year, last month, or even last week. The transformation is continual. God's hand is still shaping you, not into someone else, but into the most radiant version of who He designed you to be. Walk gently but confidently. You are no longer carrying the weight of pretending. You are living the freedom of authenticity. The light in you has matured. It doesn't flicker under pressure anymore. It shines steady, like a lighthouse in calm and storm alike. Chosen one. You have not just found your identity, you have become it. Every breath you take now is evidence of heaven's craftsmanship. You are a new creation, not in theory, but in truth. And now, the circle closes. What began as breaking has become building. What once felt like loss now stands revealed as the architecture of divine design. Heaven has brought you to the moment where destiny no longer feels distant, it feels familiar, like something you always carried but are only now remembering. The shift is complete. You can sense it in the air around you, in the quiet confidence of your spirit. You no longer question whether you're on the right path. You simply walk, knowing the ground beneath your feet is guided. Every trial, every detour, every silence was a sacred thread in the tapestry of this completion. Destiny unfolds not as a sudden explosion, but as dawn, gradual, gentle, unstoppable. Light doesn't ask permission to rise, it just does. The same is true for you now. After all the refinement, all the surrender, all the waiting, you are rising. Not because of striving, but because the time is right. You are standing in the alignment of heaven and earth. The vision that once seemed blurry has become clear. The voice that once trembled now speaks with calm authority. The heart that once broke is now the vessel through which compassion flows. The purpose that once felt uncertain now beats steady within your chest. This is what divine fulfillment feels like, not loud, but luminous. Not rushed, but rhythmic. It's the serenity of knowing that everything happened exactly as it needed to. Even the pain had purpose. Even the silence carried instruction. Heaven whispers now through the apostles' words in the letter to the Philippians. Chapter 1, verse 6. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. That promise has been your anchor all along. Every unfinished season, every unanswered question has led to this sacred completion. The good work in you is not over, it's evolving. Completion doesn't mean ending. It means fulfillment, readiness, maturity, chosen one. Destiny is not a single event. It's a rhythm you learn to live in. It's the continual unfolding of grace as you keep saying yes. Every moment you choose faith over fear, forgiveness over bitterness, truth over illusion. You step deeper into the heartbeat of your purpose. You've stopped searching for signs because you've become one. Your existence now carries evidence of God's faithfulness. You don't need to prove anything. Your peace speaks for itself. People who meet you sense the difference before you say a word. You've become what the process promised, a living revelation of resilience, grace, and light. There's a calm power in fulfillment. You no longer grasp, you receive. You no longer beg for clarity, you embody it. Life no longer feels like a series of battles to win, but a river to flow with. You've learned to move with divine current, trusting that even when the water bends around unseen corners, it still leads to purpose. Every season before this one was necessary, the wilderness to teach you stillness, the fire to teach you purity, the waiting to teach you trust. Each stage formed a language in your soul. Now, you can interpret the movements of heaven not as chaos, but as choreography. The future no longer frightens you. You've met too many endings that turned into beginnings to ever fear another shift. You understand now that change is not loss, it's life moving. You have learned to bless the flow instead of fighting it. That is wisdom. That is maturity. Your destiny no longer feels like a distant prophecy. It feels like presence. You're already living it in the way you speak peace, in the way you forgive easily, in the way you carry light without needing recognition. You have become the answer to prayers once whispered in desperation. And though the journey continues, this chapter closes with completion. Heaven is not finished with you, but it celebrates this milestone. Angels rejoice not because you are perfect, but because you stayed. You endured. You believed. You became. Chosen one. This is your divine arrival, not a finish line, but a threshold. You stand in the doorway of the next season, clothed in wisdom, rooted in peace, crowned with clarity. Everything you released, everything you refined, everything you endured has brought you here to the fullness of becoming. Take a breath and feel it, the stillness, the gratitude, the quiet joy. You no longer need to reach for what's next. It will come to you in its time. You are aligned, prepared, and present. The shift that began in surrender has now completed its circle in destiny. And as heaven looks upon you now, the words echo softly through eternity, well done. Chosen one. You have become the light you once sought. And in that sacred silence after heaven's whisper, peace settles like morning dew upon your soul. You realize the journey was never about finding God, but about finding yourself in Him. The striving ceases, the searching ends, you are home, whole, and finally walking in divine rhythm. If these words have found a home in you, Let them keep glowing. Stories like this are not written to be kept, they are meant to travel, to find hearts still waiting for light. When you like this message, it's as if you press a small flame into the world, saying hope still lives here. That one spark might reach someone standing on the edge of giving up. When you share, you become the bridge between silence and understanding. It's like sending a lantern down a dark river, trusting that it will find another traveler who needs to see just enough light to keep walking. You never know who your act of sharing will rescue from despair. When you comment, even with a single sentence, you are writing an echo of gratitude back into the story. Each word you leave behind becomes a footprint for another to follow, proof that they are not alone on their journey. When you subscribe, it's like planting yourself by a steady stream of living words. It says, I want to stay where growth happens. Every new reflection, every message that follows becomes another drop of light poured into your spirit. And if your heart feels led to donate, let it be an act of love, not obligation. Giving is not about transaction, it's participation. It's like adding another log to the fire, ensuring its warmth continues to reach those who still stand in the cold. Whether your offering is a prayer, a gesture, or a seed, it keeps the light alive. Thank you for walking through this journey of transformation. May these words continue to whisper strength when the world grows quiet. The light in you is not finished. It's just beginning to shine its brightest.